Hello and welcome to day 21, Fun in the Kitchen of the Take Back Your Power course. I did do this video yesterday, but unfortunately, because I was playing music in the background during cooking, which I always do, I love playing music while cooking, YouTube heard the songs or pinpointed the songs that were in my video, and so my video got done for copyright. Thankfully, it's still online, but in certain countries it is blocked, so I thought I'll redo this video with no music playing in the background while I'm cooking, and so this one doesn't get done for copyright. And so yeah, the one I did yesterday is still up. It's still up, you can still watch it, but I'm not sure which countries it's banned in at the moment because of the copyright, so it may play in your country, it may not. So I'm doing a second day 21 Fun in the Kitchen video, just so everyone is able to do this exercise. And the exercise is Fun in the Kitchen, and it's all about cooking and having fun, trying out new foods. You can either try out a recipe you've never done before, try a complete brand new recipe. You could cook something you haven't cooked in a long time, that's what I'm doing. Or you can just experiment, try something fun, just experiment, make up your own concussion, your own recipe. And if you really do not like cooking, if you think cooking is not my cup of tea, try doing something, even if it's just making custard, ready-made custard, anything. Just try doing something fun in the kitchen. Be creative, let your creative side come out, experiment with food, try out new flavors, and yeah, just enjoy the experience. Because the reason I do these sort of exercises, because we have a lot of heavy exercises in the Take Back Your Power course, so it's nice to have a few fun ones chucked in here and there. It's creative, it's fun, it's all benefiting us, it's helping us. Like this, it's having fun, it's being creative, it's trying new things, it's exploring with food, it's all good, but it's nice to have that break up from the heavier stuff. Yeah, so I hope you're going to enjoy this. If you're new to my channel and new to the Take Back Your Power course, if you look at my playlist, there is a playlist called Take Back Your Power course, which has got all the different exercises for every single day. This is a 90-day course. Yeah, so and this is day 21. So without further ado, let's start cooking up some nice grub. Okay, so I hope you can see me okay. This was the sort of issue I had yesterday because it's facing the window and I'm trying to get the stove in and at the same time get me in, and the lighting, so I had to pull the blind down slightly. Yeah, today we're making chicken pie, chicken and vegetable pie. And this is my take on the chicken and vegetable pie. I haven't done this for years. I used to always make my own homemade pies all the time. My ex-husband, he used to love pies, so I was always making homemade pies of all different kinds and flavors, and homemade sausage rolls. Usually I make my own homemade pastry as well, which I have a fantastic pastry recipe, but I'm cheating today and I'm just using shop bought. Okay, so this one I haven't cooked in about 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, a long time. So I'm doing it. I really fancied a pie tonight, so I'm cooking pie. It's chicken and vegetable. So I've got everything prepared. So, in a nice pan, we're going to put about a tablespoon of oil. Now, usually I would have my music blaring, and I'll be singing and dancing. So, it's about a tablespoon and a half, you can say, of oil. I like sunflower oil, it's my favourite oil. And I've got some lovely chicken pieces, as you can see there, just some really nice chunky, they're quite big and chunky, as you can tell, chicken pieces. Okay, now first I'm going to heat the oil slightly. And in here I've always got some fresh soapy water, clean fresh soapy water, which I constantly use to wash my hands. I'm obsessive with washing hands during cooking. Right, let's do this. I wonder if that is a bit too dark. Is that a bit lighter? I don't want it to be too light so there's a glare, and I don't want it to be too dark, so it's a bit tricky. So just heating up this oil, which is in there. I'm just going to chuck this chicken in here. So it's nice, good, chunky chicken. And I'm just going to put that chicken in there, in the pan. And I'm going to season it with a pinch of salt and a good generous pinch of salt, because salt brings out the flavour in food. So I use about, as you can see, it's about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, like that. And about the same of pepper. I quite like this, quite peppery, this one. I always go for black pepper. So as you can see in there, we've got pepper. It looks like a little bit as well. We've got pepper, we've got salt, we've got chicken. I'm just switching this about. Oven's on, yeah. I'm preheating my oven, 180 degrees Celsius. Actually, it's going to be turned up slightly. 190. Okay, so I'm just waiting for this to heat up. So it's just basically chicken with about 1.5 tablespoons of oil. Sunflower oil is what I'm using, a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. And you can always add extra seasonings afterwards. And then the only sort of herbs, so I don't like to make this too herby, I'm just going to use some rosemary. Again, just a nice pinch, just to give some flavour. And thyme. Spices away. Give this a mix. This oil should start heating up in a moment to fry this chicken. Okay, so I'll put you on pause while I wait for that, because you don't want to sit here waiting for chicken to start frying. Once it gets going, I'll take you off pause. Okay, it's starting to do some action now. Getting some action out of this chicken. It's starting to fry up. I just scrape the bottom of the pan just like that, so it doesn't get burnt, and it's nice getting all those juices. So it's starting to smell nice. So while we're waiting for this chicken to cook, I'm going to just roll out this pastry. I'm going to move you guys here. I'm trying to get the angle right. It's not easy. I've got the smallest kitchen in the world. So as you can see, this is a ready-made pastry. So I'm just going to, actually I should have done it in the first place. Like I say, usually I do make my own. I've actually got a really fantastic pastry recipe that I love, that I always use. It's a Gordon Ramsay one, and it works perfectly every time. Some flour, some dust on here. This bowl is clean. I'm doing this for a specific reason, because I want a top and bottom pastry. So as you can see, I'm just doing floury hands. So I'm just giving this a nice roll out. And I'm just letting that chicken do its thing, giving it a stir every once in a while. Just scraping the bottom of the pan so it doesn't burn. Just giving it a mix, and I'm just letting it do its thing. So what I do now is I have this little, I don't have a pie, I used to have a pie dish, but I'm going to be honest, I have the smallest flat. And so a lot of my because I do loads of baking, loads of cooking, and a lot of my stuff is still in boxes because there's no room. So all my pie dishes, everything is still in boxes. So I'm just using a little casserole dish thing. Okay. My dream is to have a bigger kitchen. So I'm just sticking this in there, just like that. Tearing off the sides of it. Don't want to do too much because it does shrink up. Just putting it around this pie dish, as you can see. It's only me eating this, and I'm dinky, I don't eat much. Really, whatever's left over I'll eat. There will be some left over I'll have tomorrow. For lunch I like cold. I actually like pie hot or cold. And sometimes I actually prefer cold pie, funny enough. Maybe. Got the meters, but it's rustic, it's homemade. Keep stirring the chicken to brown. I don't want it to burn. Just keep stirring it and scraping the bottom of the pan. Just for the chicken to brown a bit. And let's get back to this. And now I'm just gonna, in the bottom there, I'm just going to pour like 1, 2, 3 little slits. And I'm going to stick this in the oven. I've got a really thin pie base, but I like thin pie base. I'm going to let that cook about 6 to 10 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes. I'll keep an eye on it. And I'm just going to clean up and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've tidied up. I'm one of those cooks, those chefs that I cannot handle cooking in a dirty kitchen. It drives me mad. That's why I have some clean, soapy water already prepared, and I'm constantly washing up and cleaning up as I go along. Scraping the bottom, as you can see, this chicken is, whoops, it's coming along. It's cooking. Just want to brown it a bit more. Now, I'm going to chuck in some onions. So I have here 2 medium-sized onions that's been chopped up. Just adding that in there. Just 2 little medium-sized ones. And I've got here 2 small cloves of garlic, or medium-ish cloves. Not too big, because you don't want it too garlicky. Chopped. And I'm just going to be mixing that in with the chicken, as you can see there. Let me show you. So awkward trying to cook, and I can't get the right angle, so you can see everything. What if my head gets chopped off? Hi, I'm headless. Like that. So I'm trying to get a balance, so you get like, I'll lean down a bit like that. Okay. So I can see I need a little bit more oil. So you just put, you don't want to over, you don't want it too greasy. It's a pie, but you just put a little bit as you need. I can see I need to put just a take a teaspoon, sort of a big teaspoon in, and I'm just going to keep frying this up. Frying the onions, the garlic, and the chicken. So I'll do this for a bit. I'll put you on pause. This is not a forever long video, and I'll be back. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, the chicken's almost ready. So I'm just going to put it into a bowl, like this. here we've got the garlic, the onion and the chicken. I don't know if you can see that. And that's all nicely browned. It's not brown, but it's cooked. It's nice. So I'm putting that on the side for now. And then in this little pan, I'm going to put about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons of butter. So I'm just chucking that in there and make the white sauce. I like my chicken and vegetable pie with like a homemade white sauce. So I've chucked it in there. It's about 1 tablespoon's worth to about a heaped 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of butter. And you're just going to let that melt. Let me try and get it so you can see what's actually going on in there. So I'm just melting the butter. Oops, it's a daisy. And I'm just deglazing the bottom of the pan. So you see all that chicken juices is there, the brown, dark brownness. I'm just rubbing like that and it's deglazing it. But that's got a lot of flavour. That's where all the flavour is. Wait until all that butter is melted and it's all completely deglazed. As you can see, there's no dark brown bits. Okay. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a metal spoon. And actually, I've got this prepared before. I'm going to put some salt and pepper in there. So I'm just going to put some pepper, just about a little pinch of pepper, and again just a pinch. You don't want it too salty. A pinch of salt, and then always chuck salt over your left shoulder for good luck. Okay, and then I'm going to chuck in about a heaped 1.5 tablespoons of flour, just flour. Which you can see there, in with the butter, the salt and the pepper. And then, I don't know if you're being able to see. And just mix it together to a paste. Just like that. And then like the flour cooks for a few moments, so it's not, so you don't have a sauce that tastes all floury. So I'm just mixing that flour, that butter, salt and pepper, just like that. Making sure it doesn't burn. But I'm cooking it so this doesn't give a floury flavour. And making sure there's no lumps. See there, it's gone. That flour. This is just going to be a standard white sauce, not any cheese or anything, just a standard white sauce. Usually I would add just a 1/2 teaspoon to 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard, but unfortunately I've run out of mustard, so I'm not putting that in there today. So I'm just going to use my whisk. So now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be adding some full cream milk. I'm just adding it a little bit at a time. I'm just judging it. So I'm just adding a little bit at a time, and I'm going to whisk quickly and just continually whisk so it doesn't get lumps. Whisk in the milk into the flour and try and break up any lumps. There's no lumps. So excuse me, this is noisy. In fact, what I'm going to do is I will put you on this bit of the video on silent when recording it. So you can see there, I'm just gradually adding milk. Gradually adding the milk. A little bit at a time, and then mixing it in, just like that. Just adding little bits at a time. You don't want to add too much at once. And then add a bit more. And just keep whisking. You want to have no lumps. You want a lumpy sauce. Sorry if this is a noisy bit. I am sorry. A bit more. So here I'm just whisking that in. And it's starting to thicken up. And a bit more. So it's about a glass and a half to 2 glasses. It depends on how much sauce you're trying to make. So it all depends on how much sauce. I'm adding about a glass and a half worth of milk. A nice big size glass worth of milk. You just continually stir. If you stop stirring, it's going to clot and get lumpy and horrible. I want to add a bit more sauce. I'm going to add a teeny bit more milk. And I'll leave it about there for now. If I need to add more, I will. About 2 glasses that I've used of milk. And the stir will thicken up. So I'll put you on pause so you don't want to see me standing here till it thickens because it might take ages. And I'll be back. This is thickening up quite nicely now into a good sauce. You can make it as thick as you want. But personally, for this particular dish, I don't want it to be too thick because it's going to be cooking for a while in the oven. So it's going to thicken up in the oven while it's cooking. And I don't want a really thick sauce in my pie. So I'm going to make it thick enough but not overdo it. But you can make this into a proper thick sauce depending on, but this is just for my preference. So I'm going to take it off this instead. As you can see, you've got some really good, that's to me how I sort of want it at the moment. I'm not going to do it anymore. And so into that, I'm going to be, I'm going to lift you up. It's not the easiest thing in the world cooking this way. Okay, hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to be adding the chicken with the garlic and onion and that to the sauce, just like that. Now the sauce is not as thick, but it's going to be cooking in the oven. So I'm doing that, and I'm just mixing that all in. So in there I'm mixing the chicken with the sauce. And it's at this point you can add some veg. So I like mine with sweet corn, peas. It's just those veg mix. You get the frozen ones. There's peas, beans, carrots and sweet corn. So I'm just chucking that in there. Because it is a chicken and vegetable pie. I'm going to mix this in. Chicken over there. I don't know if you can see that. And that's starting to look like pie meat. That's looking really good. You see how thickened it's gone already? That sauce. Okay. So I don't really want to cook it much more, so I'm going to put this on the side for now. Give you a wee little peek at that. I don't know if you're seeing that. I don't know where that came out. Okay, I've taken my pie base out. I didn't put it over the edge far enough. And also I'm usually always use my homemade one every time. So it looks a bit blobbly. I do prefer using homemade pastry. This is the shop bought one. It's worked, but I didn't push it up over enough, so it's sunken down. But that's okay. I'm just gonna fill it up with meat anyway. So now in there, I'm going to be using this. I've got hair in my face. And I'm going to be filling this up in here. So, I don't know if you can see. So I'm just going to pour that in there. This chicken meat. I'm not going to use all of this. And that's the good thing. There's so much here. Because this is just going to be for me. I won't eat all this pie. So I can have some pie for lunch. And then with this leftover chicken, tomorrow I'll have with pasta. That would work really good with some pasta. And I'll just grate some cheese in there to make it like a cheesy sauce. And mix cheeses and have it with pasta. And that'll be really good. Whatever's left over. Well, I might get it all in here. I don't know. I like deep filled pie. You'll have a deep filled pie. So I might actually get it all in there. I don't want it so full it's going to overflow everywhere. So I've got to get the balance. And I won't eat all of this. This is definitely doing me lunch tomorrow. So I've got a lot of it in there. And the rest of this is a good portion, as you could tell. Loads of it still. Which I'm going to be having with pasta probably tomorrow night as dinner. Okay, so now, or I could even freeze that, put that in like a tub. Always got my little like tub, little plastic tubs with lids, and I could put that in there, and it'll be a good dinner for another night. Okay, so now we've got this in there, as you can see. Dum da dum da da dum dum. Now to top it up, I'm going to be. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have chips with this. I'll get some chips out in a minute. Have pie and chips. The lashings of tomato sauce and vinegar. There you go. Right. Covering that pastry there. Whatever pastry I don't use, I will be putting away again and saving it. I'll just cling wrap it, put it in the freezer, and voila, got it for next time. I don't waste anything. Everything gets used in the end. Okay, hair's getting my face. Yes, I'm not sure if for those of you who were able to watch the cooking in the kitchen, fun in the kitchen video I did yesterday. I don't know how many are able to see it. I know in some countries it's been banned. Not in all countries, but some. So I had no idea. I was just putting my music on and playing and I like cooking and listening to music. I didn't realize it would flag up as a copyright. But I'm doing a second video for day 21. Take back your power. Just in case. So now what I'm going to do is, it's still a bit hot. Okay. I'm going to pull this over. And this time I'm going to make sure it actually goes properly over the edge. Oh. If it doesn't, it's okay. It's homemade, it's rustic, as long as it's got some pastry on it. That's the whole fun about cooking. It's like, yeah. When I was younger, everything had to be done to perfection. And now I just think, oh, it's rustic. I like the rustic. It's homemade. It doesn't have to look perfect. And I'm gonna just so I can make sure it's there for me. That's quite fun. I haven't made pies in ages. I must have lost my skill at it. And today I just really, you know, you just fancy something. I thought I really fancy chicken and vegetable pie. I can't remember the last time I had it. To be honest, it must have been about 4 or 5 years ago the last time I did this. I really fancied it. You know, you just crave it. And I've got some chips on the side. That's going to be, yeah, just what the doctor ordered. Okay, so I'm putting that in there. I'm going to put a little slit with the knife. Just going on the top like that. I usually do 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move you over this way actually. Okay. So, here, 1, 2, 3 little slits in there. Okay. Okay, now just make sure it's definitely slit there. It's showing. It's so hard to get the right angle. Okay. So there you go. Sha la 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 la. Okay. I'm gonna put you in pause for a second. Okay, so I'm just gonna stick this into a bit of a larger one like that. So if it does overflow, it doesn't go all over my oven. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the oven. Okay, so as you can see here, I put the leftover of that in here, in my little tub. I'm going to wait for this to cool down. So it looks really creamy, nice. There, my pie filling. And I'm going to put, sorry, I forgot the water's running. I'm going to put the lid, once this cool down, I'm putting a lid on it and I'll pop it in my freezer because I forgot I've got my daughters both around tomorrow for the day. So I'll be cooking a big family meal for all of us tomorrow. So I won't be able to have this tomorrow. But now this is a perfect for me because I'm only a little one. I don't eat much. So for me, this is what's left over. So I'll put a lid on that. I'll put it in the freezer and then that'll be a homemade ready meal. And what I can do is I can have pasta with that. It'll go really nice mixing with pasta. It'll be like a pasta with white chicken sauce. I just put loads of cheese on top. So I'll bake another dinner one night. And there's so many times I make a lot of my own homemade meals. Homemade ready meals. So instead of buying homemade ready meals, I'll make tons and tons and tons of homemade ones. So whenever I cook, I'll make like cottage pies, spaghetti bologneses, jambalayas, you name it. And I always make it in bulk and then I just freeze it. I put it into portions. I've got hundreds of these little tubs. I put into one, portions for me, how much is perfect for me for a dinner. Pop it in the freezer, whatever's left over, and then I always have it another night. It's so handy, especially like if you're tired, you don't feel like cooking. You just go in the freezer, you got a ready-made meal. It's ready-made, but it's homemade. It's the right portion for you, and it's good. And same with that pie, with the pie. I'll have some tonight. That's way too much. I'm not going to eat all of that. So that's another thing. Half of that pie, I only probably have half with a bit of chips. The rest of it I'm going to put in, wrap it up with cling wrap and foil once it's cooled down. So I'll have a fibromyalgia. And then I'm just going to freeze it and I can have that another night with maybe pie and mash or pie and mash and veg or whatever. Okay, I haven't put my chips in yet, so I've got to do that. Yeah, so the next bit of this video, which will be the last bit in a moment, is when the pie is cooked. I will show you what it looks like, dished up on a plate with some chips on the side, so you can have a look. Okay, so won't be long. Okay, so the pie is done. Ship, ship. As you can see, it's slightly singed, not too bad on the top, but it's actually cooked really well, so I'm well gelled with that. Well pleased, not gelled, pleased. There we go, I'm going to cut it up and dish it up on a plate and then show you. There, as you can see, I've cut the pie. I've got loads left over. Look at that, that is tons that is left over. So that'll do 2 dinners because I can cut it like that. And I'll have one half and another half for that's 2 separate dinners. So that's tons. And here, this is what it looks like, dished up. And that's a big portion of pie for me. With some chips. And I'll have some vinegar on there and tomato sauce. I love pie with a bit of vinegar. And if you look, I don't know if it's showing up in the filling. The sauce is perfect. You get a fork. 1 second. So you can see there, you've got chunks of chicken And you got the carrot and everything in there. So yeah, that is my pie and chips. And the pastry looks really, it's cooked nicely. So I'll have that as my dinner tonight. And as you can tell here, there is tons. That's going to do me, that's about the same size of the portion I've got here going across there. So that's 2 extra dinners, which I'll just wrap them up in tin foil once this is cooled, or put them in a dish, one of my dishes, and I'll have that for, that's 2 extra dinners, plus I've got the leftover pie base, which I can use with pasta another day. So that's 3 homemade ready meal dinners made there. So I'll put you on pause. Yes, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you like that. I'm well pleased with my pie. It came out. Shoop, shoop. Look at that. I'm pleased. I'm pleased it worked out. I was a bit dubious because I used ready-made pastry. I think I've only ever used ready-made shop bought pastry maybe twice in my lifetime. And so usually I'm a stickler for my usual pastry recipe, but I'm really pleased with how it's come out. So it's like, yeah. So I'm going to go eat dinner before this gets cold, but I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Please do like, share, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Until tomorrow's exercise. Bye.